Hello everybody, this is Howard the Teaserking coming to you with just a little info and a little insight into the College Bowl season. Basically you got a couple of issues. One, these coaches that leave the team in the middle. I really hate that. Here you coached them the whole year and you get to the year end and they're in the bowl, and the coach quits. I mean, that's ridiculous. The coach, what's he doing? Where's he going? He goes to a new team. He's not doing anything yet. What do you think he's doing for the couple of weeks in December? He's not doing anything. He's obviously can't get ready for the new. It takes him a month to get in. There's Christmas. There's New Year's. The guy's not doing anything. So it's just it's a real just upsetting that here you're sort of betraying your team. Here they play for you, the coach, and then the coach leaves. And I watched it with SMU yesterday. The new coach comes in, and they were really disorganized. So you got to be careful with that. This business about these players not playing because of the drafting is ridiculous. I've talked about it many times, and they might as well just sit in a chair in their house so they won't worry about getting hurt, because they could get into a car accident and they could trip walking. So let's not do anything that would endanger them. They can just sit in their couch the rest of their lives. What a ridiculous thing. You're on part of the team. You show up. It's a bowl game. You worked all year for it. Again, it's betrayal, and I don't like that, and I don't think it makes a hill of beans or difference. About getting injured. That's just part of the game. If you're going to play football, you're going to get injured. And you could easily get injured in training camp or Deshaun Watson in practice. So, let's not practice. Let's not do anything. Let's all, just play tennis or something, and nobody will get hurt. Anyway, looking at some of the games, the playoff games, Alabama's favored. I don't get that. That's no way they should be favored. Clemson's much better team. The other game I think is probably more of an over game, the Oklahoma-Georgia. Oklahoma's a very high-scoring team. They'll score on Georgia. Georgia will score on them. Should be a very high-scoring game. The one game that I really like is UCF and Auburn. UCF, their coach is staying, even though he's going to Nebraska. I think it's a terrible move that he's going to Nebraska. I know he played there, but I don't get it. I mean, what he built at UCF is good against those type of opponents. South Florida gave him a game. Navy gave me a game. In the Big Ten, what's he going to do? I mean, he's not going to be able to handle Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State. I mean, he'll be lucky to come in 5th or 6th place. It's just not going to work there. It's just another, it's a decent offense. It's good for that style, but I've seen many coaches where they coach at one place, like this Spike Dykes. He was great at Louisiana Tech, really explosive. Goes to Cal, he does nothing. Now he's back at SMU. I mean, very rarely is maybe Urban Meyer's the exception where he can translate it into the next level. But these coaches should Scott Frost should have stayed at UCF for a good 5 years, sort of like what Goldsmith does at TCU. He stays there, and he's built that program into a winner, and he kind of stayed there but made the move up to a higher conference. So anyway, I just think that's it, but I really hate when they betray their team and they leave. Like, where are they running to? I mean, I don't get it. I really don't. I know it's about money, but to say I'll start after the bowl game. I mean, if it was anybody else, they'd be, if it was a playoff game, the guys would stay and then go after the playoff game. So then it's okay, but if it's a smaller team, then look out. Anyway, UCF Auburn's what I really wanted to talk to you about. Auburn's laying 10. Over under of 67 I got. And I absolutely love UCF in 16 in this game. Auburn's a good team. There's no question about it. They beat Alabama. They should be in the playoff ahead of Alabama because they beat them. With that said, there's no emotion and no motivation for Auburn in this game. There's nothing to prove. They already beat Alabama. They're mad they're not in the playoff. UCF, though, has, with their coach and their offense and their defense, will give Auburn all they want, if not win the game outright. By the UCF coach staying to coach the bowl game, he wants to prove that an undefeated team in the whatever their conference is, Conference USA or whatever. I just know it as the South Florida UCF Conference. I don't remember the name of it. There's the Western Kentucky Conference, the Sun Belt, the MAC, the Navy, South Florida Conference. This is, I don't know, the All-American Conference, I think. Anyway, he's out to prove that they're as good as these other schools. I don't know what Power 5 means. I think sounds like it's a hypocritical thing, like, that they're a Power 5. I don't even understand it when there's eight or nine conferences or 10 conferences. Anyway, UCF should be in the playoff. They're a very strong team. They got the quarterback, they got the defense, they got the offense. They will give Auburn all they want, and they're going to be motivated to prove that them being undefeated, they should have been in the playoff and not be overlooked because they're a lower division team. They remind me a lot of Boise when Boise beat Oklahoma and beat Georgia and beat a lot of other teams as they were making their rise up to say, hey, yeah, we're Boise, we're in the WAC, we're in the Mountain West, but we deserve to be looked at. Just because we're there doesn't mean we're not a good team. And UCF will be fully motivated. They'll give Auburn all they want. With that offense and that defense, they're an outstanding team. They would give Clemson all they wanted. They'd give anybody for them. They beat South Florida, who's an outstanding team with an outstanding offense. Putting 49 up on South Florida just blows me away. Shutting down Memphis, unbelievable in their first game. Just who they play, but they got a very good quarterback. It's a very strong offensive scheme, throwing the ball all over. Auburn will not be able to defend it very well. And again, Auburn's really not going to be motivated. They want to be in the playoff. They beat Alabama. And they got good talent, Auburn. They will run the ball on UCF. But UCF can hang with anybody. They'd hang with Oklahoma. They would hang with Alabama. They'd hang with anybody. And then they're going to be motivated here. So I look at this as take the dog. You're getting 10 up to 16. No, this is not a lock. So, it's just a very good play. The coach staying shows loyalty. The players will react to that. They're out to prove that they're as good as the other teams. And so, very strongly like UCF plus 16 in this game. This game's New Year's Day. It'll be the best game of the day. Again, this playoff system should be at least 10 teams. And I'm tired of all these excuses that these radio hosts and these TV hosts and everybody else makes. You had round one. You had Ohio State beat Wisconsin. They should be in. USC, they should be in. Alabama should not be in. Auburn should be ahead of Alabama. They beat them. Otherwise, what the hell's the point of playing the games, winning, and then not getting credit for it? Penn State should be in as a wild card. It's just ridiculous. But you definitely should have at least 10 teams in this thing, with the first 2 having byes like the NFL. It's just sad what they're doing and how they're trying to scam everybody into believing, oh, here's the playoff, the best 4 teams are in. Bullshit, you can't prove it. Here's UCF. Why aren't they in? Fresno State won their conference. Were they? Oh, USC. Let's go to USC and Ohio State. Penn State. Why aren't they in? If you really want a champion, you had your first round with all the division playoffs. Otherwise, all I hear is everybody bitching, well, then the regular season won't mean anything. Well, the conference championship games didn't mean anything. The only one that meant anything was Clemson beat Miami. For some reason, that matters. And Georgia beats Auburn. For some reason, that matters. But USC and Ohio State get screwed. And Alabama, for some reason, gets in with, and their best win was what? Colorado State? Or their best win was Fresno State. I think that was their best win of the year. I don't think they could beat UCF. Not the way UCF's playing as motivated as they is. Yeah, I know Alabama. They have trouble with mobile quarterbacks. That's why I say that. I want to say one word on like Jim Harbaugh. I've been hearing a lot of flack. What you got to realize about Jim Harbaugh, he's from the old school. So his quarterback's going to be a pocket quarterback, not one of these running around quarterbacks, and not one of these spread quarterbacks that apparently the spread's a fraud because they don't read coverages, which I really don't understand. They're reading coverages. You're still reading the safeties and the cornerbacks, linebackers. Baylor ran a beautiful option where they'd option the safety. If he came up, they'd throw it. If he stayed back, they'd run it. It was a beautiful offense. And Matt Rule came in from Temple, and he ruined that offense, and took him 1 year to ruin it. Now Baylor's like one of the worst teams in football, and they were the best team. I don't know. You're bringing a coach. Bring in a coach. Don't bring in a guy who doesn't know how to run the offense. But anyway, so Jim Harbaugh, the problem is he wants drop-back passers, and the problem is there aren't drop-back passers out there. All the kids in high school are either option type of running quarterbacks because they're easy. It's an easy offense, right? If they stay back, I'm going to run. If they come up, I'll throw the ball. Or it's the spread. But there's not a lot of pocket quarterback, Tom Brady types, the Jim Harbaugh types that he wants. And that's why he got Shea Patterson from Ole Miss. Ole Miss paid more than Michigan for the guy, so he went to Ole Miss. And now Ole Miss is on probation or whatever, double secret probation or one of those things from Animal House. And basically he says, I'll go to Michigan. They need a quarterback. And the reason Harbaugh took him is it's hard. He can recruit a quarterback who he thinks is good, but once he gets him and he sees him, he knows right away the guy's crap. I mean, so that's the problem. O'Korn, he's crap. You can see he's crap. And then he gets this other guy who's apparently not that strong, and these other recruits. He's very limited. Let's say there's 100 good prospects for quarterbacks. Well, let's say 50 of them are these option type of, they can run and pass. And then about, let's say 40 of them are these spread type quarterbacks who have a great arm and can throw the ball, but they run out of a spread shotgun type of thing. And so it leaves them with 10 that are drop back in the pocket quarterbacks. But, out of the 10, he's only going to get one of them, so he's get 1 out of 10 out of 100. And so he's at 1 or 2% that his guy is going to be any good. And if it's not good, which is what's been happening, then he looks like a fool. Like, why can't you get a quarterback? Well, because you got Andrew Luck. So, I mean, I could have coached Andrew Luck and looked like a genius, or Tom Brady, or Brett Favre, or Aaron Rodgers. Like all these coaches in the NFL want to take credit for being Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre's quarterback coach. Like, they made the quarterback instead of the other way around. AKA, who's that fat guy from Notre Dame who I can't think of the name, and then he coached Kansas. They couldn't win a game. Anyway, it's not, it's totally, not fair. Harbaugh's a great coach. He's probably, the NFL is so bad right now. Half the teams are terrible. Most of the quarterbacks stink. They haven't adopted to this more of a spread type. You can't run an option in the pros because the quarterbacks get hurt. Look at Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, you shouldn't be running when you're on the best team. Stop running the ball into the end zone from 5-6 yards out and getting tackled. You can't do that. You have to slide. You're more valuable alive than with a hurt knee. You can't. This is not college. You can't run. Same thing. Tom Brady, how many times does he run? 0. Aaron Rodgers, he runs. He never gets hit. He slides. You get out of bounds. You cannot run. Anyway, so that's the problem with the pros. They still want to go pocket. Michigan wants that, but it's just a matter of you can't get that. But anyway, it's just some college talk. Keep an eye on the new coaches and these coaches and the change. The coach is very key. Look at a team like Fresno State. They get Tedford, who used to coach at Cal. He was good until he got to a point, and when the team got really good, he couldn't win anymore. And he had great talent, Forsett, Deshaun Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. He still couldn't win. So you have to question Tedford. He can get you to a level, and then that's it. But you got to watch those coaches. So it's almost like the stats don't mean anything for the first year of the new coach. Even Scott Frost at UCF, last year they sucked. Well, they weren't that bad, but they were 0-12 2 years ago. And then now this year they go 12-0. And that's, now you get a beat on it, and this is the problem with college. You get a beat on it, and then he leaves for Nebraska. Okay, the first year I can't use any of his stats because he's got all new team. He doesn't have this quarterback unless Milton goes with him. He's not going to have the good quarterback. His defense isn't going to be any. He doesn't have any of his type of players. That's going to take 2 years. Then when Nebraska gets good, and if he stays there, then you can start betting Scott Frost. And this is what makes the college football so difficult. There's at least 15 to 20 new coaches all over the place. So you got a guy there a couple years, he leaves, here comes a new coach. You don't know what he's going to do. And even when the coach transfers, so he's a good coach. Here's Scott Frost, a good coach. Moves to Nebraska. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know, even after 2 years, they're going to go undefeated like at UCF or not. And that's why I like betting the UCFs and the South Floridas. You know what you got, and it's much better. Oh, and one comment on South Florida, Quentin Flowers, their superstar quarterback. It's his last game. I look for South Florida to just annihilate Texas Tech. That score should hit 100. A guy like that, and it's his last game. You gotta look out for these guys. Their last game. Scott Frost's coach, his last game at UCF. It's a very emotional game, and they're gonna leave the players in, and they're gonna just try to run it up and make sure the guy gets a win. So be very cognizant about players like that in their last game. Barkley at Penn State, his last game. I'm hearing that Darnold from USC, for some strange reason, is going to pass up the Ohio State game. What a huge mistake that is. To be able to play in that type of game against Ohio State, and you're going to pass it up because you don't want to get injured in the draft. You've only played 2 years. You're not anywhere near NFL ready. Josh Rosen is. He's played at least 3 years, and he was injured, and he was under Jim Mora, an NFL coach. This guy, Darnold, is going to be another Matt Leinart, another crappy quarterback like Winston, who played 2 years. You need 4 to try to play quarterback in the NFL. You need to play 4 years in college. You don't come out early. You're not worried about injury. If you're worried about that, you're a wimp. You have no business. I would never draft. I would draft Josh Rosen 100 times quicker than I draft Darnold. So if Darnold, I'm hearing he might not play, but it's not official. If he doesn't play, jump all over Ohio State. They'll kill him. Because they'll be pissed off that Darnell's not playing. And USC, believe me, will be pissed off that he's not playing in the backup. And they're going to look at him like, okay, dude, really? You played the whole year with us and now you're not going to play? That's just horrible, and that's an undraftable player. That shows no balls, no character, betrayal. This is not a guy you want on a football team, okay? All these guys that want the money mean the money's more important. Never draft them. They're never going to be anything. I mean, Fournette, he sat out. He was injured. I don't believe the injury. I think he just sat out last year. He's okay. You know, McCaffrey's done nothing, and the other guy from Michigan, Peppers, he's done nothing on Cleveland. Again, wasted draft picks. I want a guy who wants to play, who's got passion for the game, not guys who sit out, are scared to get injured, and play for the money. That's not the guy you want on your team. All right, everybody. Bet UCF, South Florida score 1,000 points. I'll give you those two. Happy holidays. My next video will be New Year's. So good luck to you. Happy holidays. www.teaserking.com. Again, I have a special for the bowls. Special for the month. You can buy the weeks at $100. I'll give you college and pro and the locks for the $100 instead of I think it's $150. So I'll give you a nice break there for the holidays. Anyway, go out and make a bunch of money on South Florida and UCF. All right, everybody. Have a great holiday. Thank you very much. www.teaserking.com.